Every single day, humans consume over 2 billion cups of tea, making it the most popular beverage on the entire planet, second only to water. But despite this astronomical global volume, a striking majority of people have absolutely no idea what they are actually drinking. Most consumers walk into a grocery store, look at a massive wall of boxes, and assume that green tea, black tea, white tea, and oolong tea all come from completely different species of plants cultivated in secret corners of the world. The botanical reality is far more fascinating. Every true tea on Earth originates from the exact same plant, a single East Asian evergreen shrub known scientifically as Camellia sinensis. The vast differences in color, aroma, flavor profile, and chemical composition have absolutely nothing to do with genetics. They are entirely determined by the precise artistic manipulation of oxygen, heat, and time. If you want to pull back the curtain on the forensic history of what you consume and decode the fascinating science behind the world's most iconic flavors, take a quick second right now to subscribe to Food Genesis. Turn on your notifications and smash that like button. We break down the absolute origins of everything you eat and drink, and today we are systematically unlocking the grid of every major tea on Earth. To understand how a single green leaf transforms into vastly different beverages, we have to look at a fundamental biological process known as enzymatic oxidation. The moment a tea leaf is plucked from the bush, its cell walls begin to break down, exposing internal enzymes to the oxygen in the air. This triggers a chemical chain reaction that alters the leaf's tannins and polyphenols, turning the green leaves dark brown and completely shifting their flavor from fresh and grassy to deep, malty, and robust. The entire tea spectrum is defined by exactly when a master tea crafter decides to stop this oxidation process using high heat. We begin our grid at the purest, most delicate end of the spectrum with white tea. White tea undergoes the absolute minimum amount of human processing possible. It is harvested strictly during the early spring, utilizing only the youngest, unopened leaf buds which are covered in a fine silvery white down. Instead of being rolled, crushed, or shaped, these delicate buds are simply allowed to wither under careful shade and are immediately dried. Because it experiences almost zero mechanical processing, white tea undergoes negligible oxidation. When you brew a cup of white tea, such as silver needle or white peony, you are tasting the closest possible approximation to the raw living plant. The fluid is pale yellow, featuring an incredibly subtle, naturally sweet flavor profile with distinct notes of fresh hay, cucumber, and delicate floral undertones. It possesses a lower caffeine content compared to its darker counterparts, making it a highly prized indulgence for connoisseurs seeking pure, unadulterated botanical elegance. Moving along the grid, we hit green tea, which represents a brilliant exercise in stopping nature completely in its tracks. Unlike white tea, green tea leaves are harvested at full size, but the crafters must act with absolute speed to prevent oxidation from ever taking place. To achieve this, the leaves are subjected to a high heat application almost immediately after plucking, a crucial step known in the industry as kill green. This intense heat deactivates the plant's oxidizing enzymes entirely, locking in the natural green chlorophyll and preserving the leaf's raw chemical structure. However, the world of green tea is deeply divided by how this heat is applied, creating two completely distinct flavor subcategories. In China, the traditional method involves pan-firing the leaves in massive, dry woks. This dry heat caramelizes the natural sugars within the leaf, yielding a green tea that is decidedly nutty, toasted, and subtly smoky, epitomized by world-famous varieties like Dragonwell. In stark contrast, Japanese green tea production relies on high-pressure steam. This gentle, moist heat preserves the volatile compounds perfectly, resulting in a vibrant emerald green leaf that tastes intensely oceanic, savory, and grassy, rich in savory umami notes. This steam method reaches its absolute peak with matcha, where sencha green tea leaves are grown completely in the shade for weeks to spike their chlorophyll and L-theanine content before being meticulously stone ground into a fine, glowing green powder. When you drink matcha, you aren't just drinking an infusion, you are physically consuming the entire leaf, resulting in a massive, sustained release of clean caffeine and antioxidant power. Next on our visual grid sits Oolong tea, universally regarded by tea masters as the absolute pinnacle of artisanal craftsmanship. If green tea is unoxidized and black tea is fully oxidized, Oolong lives in the highly complex, shifting space directly between them. Oolong teas are intentionally partial oxidized, ranging anywhere from 15% to 85% oxidation. Crafting a world-class oolong requires a relentless, hands-on process of bruising the edges of the leaves by tossing them in large bamboo baskets, letting them oxidize slightly, and then applying precise heat to halt the reaction at a specific percentage. A lightly oxidized oolong, like Iron Goddess of Mercy, tightly rolled into tiny green pearls, mimics the fresh floral nature of a green tea but carries a luxurious, creamy mouthfeel and notes of sweet orchid. On the other end of the spectrum, a heavily oxidized oolong, such as Da Hong Pao or Phoenix Dan Kong, features long, twisted dark leaves that deliver deeply complex, roasted flavors reminiscent of stone fruit, honey, and dark cocoa. Oolong tea defies simple categorization because a single batch can evolve continuously across 10 or 15 consecutive steepings, revealing new aromatic layers with every pour. This brings us to black tea, known in its native East Asia as red tea due to the vibrant amber color of the brewed liquid. Black tea undergoes absolute, 100% complete oxidation. After the leaves are harvested, they are systematically withered to remove moisture, and then intentionally crushed, rolled, or torn to deliberately break open every single cell wall. This maximizes the leaf's exposure to oxygen, allowing it to turn completely dark brown or black. This heavy oxidation completely transforms the chemical profile, converting simple catechins into complex molecules called thioflavins and thiorubigins. This process yields a highly robust, deeply comforting flavor profile characterized by bold malty notes, heavy astringency, and rich fruitiness. This structural strength makes black tea uniquely suited to withstand the test of time, historically allowing it to be compressed into bricks and traded across continents as a form of currency. Globally iconic varieties like Assam, Darjeeling, and Ceylon form the heavy backbone of Western tea culture, providing the intense, high caffeine punch that anchors breakfast blends and pairs perfectly with milk and sugar. Finally, we arrive at the most mysterious and misunderstood section of our grid, post-fermented tea, universally known as pu'er. While the previous teas rely on enzymatic chemistry, pu'er introduces a completely different natural force, microbial fermentation. To create pu'er, processed sun-dried green tea leaves are intentionally exposed to microorganisms, specifically beneficial molds, yeasts, and bacteria. The tea is then tightly compressed into solid cakes or bricks and allowed to age slowly under controlled conditions for years, or even decades. As the years pass, these living microbes slowly consume the compounds within the leaves, smoothing out all bitterness and developing a flavor profile that is utterly unique. A well-aged Sheng or Shou pu'er doesn't taste anything like a standard leaf. It is profoundly earthy, rich, and dark, carrying deep aromatic notes of damp forest floor, ancient wood, leather, and rich autumn leaves. It is a living, breathing antique beverage that continuously improves with age, commanding thousands of dollars at specialized auctions worldwide. But what about the dozens of other boxes lining the grocery store shelves, things like chamomile, peppermint, rooibos, or hibiscus? In the strict forensic world of food science, these are not actually teas at all, because they do not contain a single leaf from the Camellia sinensis plant. They are accurately classified as tisanes or herbal infusions. Peppermint is a soothing herb, chamomile is a dried flower, hibiscus is a tart calyx, and rooibos is a needle-like legume unique to South Africa. While they offer incredible flavor profiles and fantastic medicinal benefits completely free of caffeine, they belong to a completely separate botanical family. When you look across the entire grid of tea, you are looking at one of the most beautiful intersections of botany, human history, and culinary science ever devised. For thousands of years, civilizations have used this single, humble green leaf to build empires, spark revolutions, and establish sacred rituals of mindfulness and hospitality. The sheer diversity of tea proves that the final flavor of what we consume is never just an accident of nature, it is a reflection of human ingenuity shaped by the elements of fire, water, and time. Thank you for exploring the absolute roots of the world's favorite leaf with us today on Food Genesis. Drop a comment right below and tell us exactly which type of tea sits on your personal daily grid. And let us know if you prefer the fresh grassy notes of a steamed Japanese green or the bold, comforting structure of a fully oxidized black tea. If this complete analysis brought you value, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, drop a like on this video, and share it with your fellow food lovers. Stay curious, keep analyzing what you consume, and we will see you on the very next episode.